Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Lincoln Property and Mortgage Show at our new time of 7 o'clock in the evening. Jenny, we've pushed it to the evening by popular demand for everybody. They were saying they needed us to do it in the evening so that we can reach a bigger audience, because I know that everybody was at work previously. So that's what we've done. And to be perfectly honest with you, I think it probably suits us best too, because in the day at the minute, we're all really busy.
Yeah, all the lenders are closed now, so it means that I'm not stuck on a call, to be fair. So yeah, it's ideal time for me. And his tenders hasn't started yet, so we're all good. We're all good. It fits in.
So welcome everybody. If this is the first time you're watching the show, great to have you on board. Let's start off by running the VT and then let's tell you what's coming up in today's show. There we go. That's woken us all up, I'm sure. So thanks to say, if you're joining us this evening to watch the show, or if you are watching this back at a later stage, then again, thanks very so much for your involvement and the support. If you're watching, be it live or, as I say, back at a later time, please make sure that you like, share, comment on it as well. Let's get the news out now about the new format at the new time. We are going to be 7 o'clock every Tuesday evening for you. And also, if you're watching this evening, in fact, look, we've got a first viewer in there. Fantastic. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. If there's any questions you've got, if you want to get involved, please make sure, bottom corner, you've got a post a comment. Please feel free to send any questions, any comments, any feedback as we go throughout the show. But also, please make sure you put your name on there so we know who you are. You'll find already that I'm coughing and spluttering. I've got a glass of water. Jenny, you're the same. You're struggling as well.
I've got bottles of water like you wouldn't believe. So yeah, apologies if I cough in anyone's ear.
So if all of a sudden you see us going on mute or we disappear, you'll know why. But we will struggle through, I'm sure. So let me just give you just a quick recap of who I am, and Jenny, you'll do the same. And then we'll also tell you a little bit about what we're going to be covering today. So I'm Michael Hollenby. I'm the owner of Hollenby Mackay Bespoke Estate Agents in Lincoln. It's my own business as an estate agent with over 32 years as of this year of experience of successfully achieving the best outcome for the home sellers I work with. And then Jenny, yourself.
So yeah, as Mike said, my name's Jenny Holt. I'm a mortgage broker based here in Lincoln, working with a range of clients, first time buyers, all the way through to our forever homes. And I guess my big key is to ensure that we educate our clients to make sure that they get the best mortgage that's right for them. So yeah, that's what I do.
Fantastic. So we're going to talk about the two subjects we're going to cover today, and I'm going to have a bit of a recap in regard to Boxing Day Bully. If you remember, if you've been watching the show over the last few weeks, we were talking just on the run up to Christmas about how the media, the marketing and the estate agency was all gearing up for the biggest day in estate agency on Boxing Day. So I'll go through some data and some stats there for you and what's actually happened nationally and locally for Lincoln.
And I'm going to talk about the 5 Ps. Now, the 5 Ps I've completely made up, but I'm going to make it a thing. I am determined by the end of the year, everyone's going to be doing the 5 Ps on every viewing that they look at. So you're going to hear me banging on about this quite a lot. But Mike, it fits in nicely with what you do as well. So we're going to get the 5 Ps out there to everyone.
Fantastic. So we'll have a bit of interjection as we go through those as well. So I'm going to start off by talking to you again about what happened in the period between Christmas and New Year. So as I say, if you've been watching the show previously, you'll know that a lot of agents were holding back on listings going live on the market and were launching them specifically on Boxing Day. And the reason for that was agents all know that December is a quiet month for putting properties on the market. We're all busy. We're all flat out, stressed, and also we've got Christmas decorations up. So it can go a bit flat. But in order to make sure that agents hit their monthly targets and yearly targets, particularly if you run a KPI target of listings between January to December, there's a real focus on putting properties on the market at the end of the year to make sure that they hit those targets as well. So what tends to happen is agents will hold back their listings and launch them all on December the 26th. Why December the 26th? Because we all know statistically over the last few years, it's the day when there is more traffic and views and visits to Rightmove than any other day. That's then backed up by usually January the 2nd, because they are two of the quietest days where people have got time on their hands to go in and either go on social media or on Rightmove. So let's talk about the positive to start off with. And this is information and data that's been launched by Tim and the team and everybody, and really fantastic data analysts at Rightmove. I have to say, it is an incredible platform, incredible information and sort of content that they have and advice that they can give to agents and obviously the home sellers by going onto their portal. And they announced some quite staggering figures, to be fair. So 10,000 properties were launched in the UK on Rightmove on December the 26th. So that's the unbelievable amount. That's the highest number since 2011. Now, that's a significant data as well, I believe, is because if you've been, around the block a few times, we'll know that the housing market in 2008 to 2011 actually quite right down. It was a very, very hard market. 2011 saw the start of the return of coming back to a much more productive and busy marketplace. And that was signified by the number of people that were visiting Rightmove on December the 26th back in 2011. So, with 13 years on, and that's the biggest number of, site visits to Rightmove, not site visits, properties launched on that date. So the marketing worked. Let's be fair. That message was working. So the positive is that people were holding back launching their properties and putting them on the market on December the 26th. What does that mean, though, to the consumer, the person at the end of the sort of chain, as it were, in regards to activity and people actually viewing? Well, my information, looking at Lincoln, is that it didn't make a massive effect in regard to massive spike in searches of people looking for properties. Now, I have to stress, that's mainly Lincoln. I can't vouch for the rest of the country, but when we talk about our local market and our local community, that's what I'm going to refer to. Now, the reason I know that data is, as a bespoke agent, I work very closely with all the home sellers that I'm instructed to sell for. And every weekend, I will go on to a property report, which will tell me the performance of that individual property week on week, month on month, etc., etc. But in addition to just showing me the performance of that property, and I will have been able to see that on the 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, etc., whether there was a spike of interest, it will also show me how that compares to similar properties. Okay. Now, what we would have normally then seen is the run up to Christmas being reasonably flat and steady. And then on that particular day, we would have seen a sharp spike. What we'd normally then see is a bit of a decline over the following few days. Then we get to New Year and it would shoot and spike back up again. That did not happen. Okay. Now, that is the message that I was saying back over in December and November is, look, don't get fooled in by adhering to agents' processes about having to launch a property on that day. If you were to use the title new properties launched on that day, that new title will also include new priced properties. And again, a lot of agents were holding back price reductions and putting them live on December the 26th, relaunching the property ready for the new year. So it's a good marketing strategy, but the data would show that there wasn't the huge spikes that people were expecting. So in summary, lots of new properties brought to the market. Were there the numbers in Lincoln then going on to Rightmove and looking, which would follow that trajectory? And the answer would be no. Okay. What we have seen on a positive is very much a more positive property market as we've gone into the new year. This last 7 or 8 days in particular has been very, very busy. Number of views on the properties that I have on the market and others, as I say, similar properties, has increased. Inquiries coming through on Rightmove for more information. Inquiries through for valuations increased. Viewings physically on properties that I have available and others on the market with other agents has increased. And we're all saying that the market is very, very busy at the moment. Jenny, we've had a couple of conversations this week about what's happening in the mortgage market, which is, again, very, very positive. And as we move on over the next few weeks in the shows, we're going to talk to you about the interest rates and how that's affecting, but also the type of borrowing that you need to have and the criteria for that borrowing. So we're going to look behind the headlines in that. But what I would say is the market, as we've gone into the new year, is definitely better than it had been probably for the 6 months, the back end of 2023. That normally indicates quite a strong start into the marketplace and where we need to be. Again, if you're following the economy, the economics and the political side of the country, they're already starting to talk about when the next general election will be. Will it be after the half year? Is it going to be even as August or later in the year? My view very much is I think that the government are probably going to string that out as long as they can to ride the crest of the success of the economy, interest rates, property market, etc., etc. So if it turns to return as much as that, it's a vote winner to try and obviously, shall we say, market the return of a stronger economy. So the signs are very, very positive. What I would stress is if you are putting your property on the market, or if you've been on the market for a period of time of several months last year, price is key. It's still not a seller's market. If you look at all the reports that Rightmove also produced in that statement, they are all saying the key thing for a sustained and strong property market in 2024 is pricing. Last year, in summary, the prices went down nationally. They're saying they're leveling out at the moment. And I think definitely if there are 10,000 new properties coming available in the marketplace at the minute, it's even more important to make sure that your property is market competitive.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think from a mortgage point of view, we're seeing that as well. You can sell a house for whatever you want to sell it for within reason if someone's going to buy it, but you have to have the mortgage that backs that up on the whole. And what we're seeing is lenders are being very cautious. I was speaking to another mortgage broker today. There's certain lenders out there that are using the pricing as cautious. So absolutely, I think from where you're sitting, Mike, price is key. People don't want to overpay like they did in the COVID years where they just wanted to move and they was happy to pay for whatever. Now people are having more surveys done. They are considering the price a lot more. And on the back of that, lenders are as well. So I think absolutely spot on what you're saying there. If you want to sell your house, it needs to be priced correctly to do that, because you will just naturally put people off if it's not. And you need to be open to negotiate, which we've said so many times before. It's the end goal. So you might not get what you want, but as long as everyone down the line achieves what they need to achieve, then we get there in the end. And that's the key to it, really.
Spot on. Excellent. So again, I know there's a few likes and thumbs up there as well. So thank you very much indeed for that. So if you've any questions on that at all, again, please reach out to me. Again, make sure that you're following us on our social media as well, so that if you want to get hold of us as direct messages, either to me or Jenny, you can do that as well. So Jenny, let's start obviously the conversation then in regard to keeping people out of their suspense now about your 5 Ps. Let's go.
My 5 Ps, honestly, Mike, I'm going to make this a thing of mine.
First of all, it's going to be viral.
Yeah, it's literally.
Whoever says, tell me about the 5 Ps.
Yeah, I am. Honestly, you'll be walking down like Brighton Pier and it'll be there. Tell me about the 5 Ps. But there we go. That's the story. Whoever says, Jenny, you sound a little bit bunged up, 100%. I don't know who you are because you didn't put your name on there. But yes, I am a little bit bunged up. I have a cold. So apologies if I snip or cough in your ears. But the 5 Ps, look, the important thing. So I have decided that on every viewing, you should be looking at the 5 Ps. And actually, a very lovely person who follows me on Facebook actually said, well, I think there might be another one. So we'll come on to that as well. So number 1 is parking. When you view your home, even if it's a rental property, people want to know they're going to be able to park outside their house. There is nothing worse than having parking wars with your neighbours. I went to buy a house. It was a lovely new build in a lovely village, and realised that we couldn't actually park all our vehicles on the drive. And I was already planning how I was going to rip up the garden to make space for the extra vehicles. And I thought, I've not even moved in. So for me, one of the key things is parking. It is a bit of a bone of contention when it comes to neighbours, and it can really disturb the peace, shall we say. So I think one of the key things you need to be looking at is your parking. The second P is power. So that's your gas, your electric, your oil. Have they been regularly serviced? We all hear the horror stories where someone moves into the house, they're told the boiler's been serviced, they go to switch it on, especially this time of year. There's no gas, the boiler doesn't work, it's freezing cold. Or me, when I moved into my house, I love my home, but I discovered there was no earthing, and that's quite high risk.
So you found out.
Oh, you don't want to know. But so we had to then quickly get everything earthed, which is a lot of money. And
Yeah.
it's a lot of money when you've just moved home. So I would ask questions around the power, so your gas, your electric, your oil. But your solicitor will ask if there's been any certificates done, if they've had any works done on it. But do you know what? It's worth asking at the viewing, especially if
Yeah.
you've got the seller there in front of you. They're going to know. So ask that question. What is it like in the area? And the third P is pressure, water pressure. Now, there's three of us in the house, and when we're all trying to have showers or make cups of tea and everything at the same time, if you've got poor water pressure, which we do have in our village, which drives me insane anyway, it can be really hard. So if you've got 2 or 3 bathrooms in your home and your water pressure is low, that can cause arguments at 7 o'clock in the morning when no one needs that. So I would say turn on a tap. What is the water pressure like? Is that something that you can deal with? Number 4 is the people. So neighbours, how, do they get on with your neighbours? Are you going to fit in with your neighbours? We've brought our street average age down by about 20 years, I think, but we love them. We get on really well with them, but that's not going to be for everyone. Is it, have you got the right kind of neighbours that you're going to fit in with? You're never going to have to be best friends, but you do have to live within the same area. So it's really good to have that conversation and check that out as well. And then the fifth one, which I think is probably the most important one, if I'm honest, and Mike, I think you'll be with me on this, it's the position of the sellers. And we sort of bang on about this all the time. So just because a property is up for a price, that doesn't mean that they need to achieve that or they're happy to take that. They might want more. They might be happy to take less if it allows them to achieve where they are, where they want to be. Have they found anywhere? Do they need to sell before they can move? So it's understanding that position of the seller, because that could very much base what you're willing to offer. If they've not found anywhere and they are looking for top dollar, that will indicate to you that potentially this could be a slower sale, and therefore your price may reflect that one way or the other. I'm sure, Mike, you see that quite a lot when you're doing your viewings, don't you?
Yeah,
People asking
definitely.
those questions.
Because I do the viewings on every one of the homes that I market, because again, that's another subject about. I firmly believe an estate agent's job is to attend that viewing and actually sell and meet the right criteria to the the buyer and the seller, rather than order taking, just sending anybody around and expecting the home seller to do that. So it's one of the first questions that I would get asked. What's the position of the owner? Why they're moving. It's one of those things that I think it's one of those sort of questions that people feel it's an icebreaker, and it can be a bit uncomfortable and a bit awkward when you're viewing properties, to be fair. So it's a natural question. So don't feel scared to ask it. What's the position of the home seller? Why have they put it on the market? It's about storytelling, and this is what was something again we've spoken about, Jenny, lots and lots and lots over the previous months. It's finding out the home seller's journey. What's their story? Are they outgrowing the property? Are they downsizing? Have they had an inheritance? Is it because they need better schooling or new schooling?
Yeah.
Is it now that they don't need schooling and they're looking for something a bit more rural? Are they looking for something with a village pub? If they've got pets now and they want countryside walks, there could be a whole host of reasons. Could be a job relocation. That's a great one to be finding out, because if that's the case, there's often a time scale of when somebody needs to move. I'm working with a fantastic couple in a property at the moment in a beautiful village. And one of the criteria for them is they have 2 potential best moving opportunity windows this year. So in the background, I'm already in discussion with somebody who's expressing an interest to say, actually, we've got a window with this period. They've now potentially got somebody interested on theirs. And if we can tie that back in with potentially having to serve notice on a rental property, these are the conversations, if you have at the beginning, that you can really help to negotiate the best outcome for you. So definitely position is really, really key. The other thing that I stress here as well is, if you're working with an agent that is thorough with that home seller and they're getting an offer, tying up the time scale based on the position when you're negotiating a sale is also really important. Let me give you an example. If we're trying a sale up at a certain price, let's say, for example, it's on the market at 200 and somebody comes along as offer 195 and we get them up to 198, for example, part of that could be is the home seller will come down to the 198 on the basis that, in principle, because of the position of my home seller, we need to have exchanged and completed by set date. Now, I say in principle because we all know in buying and selling anything can happen, but we can put that on as a condition of the offer being accepted on the memorandum of sale. so that all the solicitors and all the mortgage advisors and all the estate agent know that in principle, that's the date we're aiming with. So I think you're absolutely right, Jenny. Establishing the position of the home seller and the buyer, and then locking that down as part of your negotiations and getting it in writing so that everybody is focused on that target date.
Absolutely. And I just think, it makes life easy because you know where you are. I've got a lovely couple at the moment that, didn't do that to start with. And now they're all arguing over dates as to when it should complete and how it all fits in. Had they had that conversation at the beginning, everyone knew where they'd started and would be, a lot further on. So yeah, 100%. And it can reflect in the price. If they say to you, oh, well, actually, we can only move in, say, September because that's when the school starts, sorry, then maybe, you might go, well, I'm happy to do that, but it means I've got to be in rented for maybe another couple of months. And that may then reflect on what you offer. But again, you're happy to wait. And look, at the end of the day, if that whole chain gets to move where they need to move, sometimes it's not necessarily about the price that you pay or the price that you sell for. It's about getting that objective at the end of the goal.
Absolutely.
The last one that isn't a P, but actually is quite important. But so I'm going to say it because a lovely lady put it onto my reel today when I put this out. So I thought I'm going to give her a shout out and say it's Wi-Fi. How many people work from home these days? There's usually a little bit of hybrid working. Maybe you do a bit of work out of hours. So actually checking what your Wi-Fi is like. I've literally got 3 providers that I can choose from where I live. Luckily, one's a decent provider. Maybe checking out what the Wi-Fi is like when you're viewing. And actually, if you do all of those things, you'll know that you can potentially live in that home as it stands. But whatever we do, if we could just keep going out and shouting about the 5Ps, because I really want to make it a thing. And I'll be well chuffed if someone just puts the 5P on the social media and it pops up for me. So if
Well,
we
you
could
know
just
what? I reckon you can put
awesome.
Wi-Fi under power, can't you?
Yeah, I reckon we could squeeze it under that.
Stick it under there.
Yeah.
And that's also an interesting one, is because you're right, Jenny. And the fact that, again, one of your followers, client base, customers, people that you know is having that conversation with you means that is something that's important at that level of people's thoughts. What I mean by that is it is something, again, that I'm asked a lot when I'm doing viewings, particularly, like you said, if you work from home. But I've got 3 kids and they've got tablets and the mobile phones and they're doing the homework, and there's Netflix on or there's a YouTube going on, and I'm working. I've got 2 mobile phones and 2 laptops. We need to make sure that you can power your Wi-Fi and that download speed is adequate, particularly, like you say, if you are now working from home as well.
Yeah.
It is a question that people are asking. Almost, well, it's even to the extent now that on all of the marketing literature that I do, I run what's called a key facts for buyers. And in there's a very detailed report about conservation area, tree preservation orders, floodplains. It's got down Ofsted reports from the schools that you can download, historic information of all recent sales, planning applications, everything you can imagine that you'd want to know. And the most search on that is download speed and also internet providers. Because again, you could have something like EE who's got fantastic download speed, but if you're with Sky or one of the other providers, say for example TalkTalk, and the download speed isn't brilliant, you've got to put that in your equation about maybe whether you're going to need to change providers as well. So Wi-Fi is a really important one.
Yeah, I'm going to find a place for that, to be fair. I'm finding that. So we've just had a comment in from our lovely Nate, who's lovely, by the way. So, Nate, yes, I am going to send you over the 5Ps when I come off this. I'm going to message you them. But his question, Mike, was have you had an experience with Scampton? He currently lives at the Scampton camp. What's it like for people selling or wanting to move there? Have you had any sort of views on that recently?
Yeah, good question. So again, media is always one of these things. It can either have a negative or a positive impact. And I think, to be fair, last year, that location was definitely hit hard with some negative media representation. It is still ongoing, let's be perfectly honest. And it's not just affecting Scampton. I've had conversations with people over in Ingham in the last 2 or 3 weeks, wondering whether house values and saleability is going to be affected from those decisions that are being made and will be made. So the point of that will always be, and this is my view, and this is a personal view rather than experience necessarily as it is in the market, is there will always be properties available. There will always be buyers for those properties. It will always come down to price, unfortunately, again. Now, what I mean by that is if you've got any property and it was on a, say, for example, the value, let's go back to that 200. If you put that property on the market at £100,000, it was going to sell overnight. If you put that property on the market at £400,000, it's never going to sell in a month of Sundays. Now, what I mean by that is, yes, the Scampton area will have an effect by the plans that they have for there, which will affect pricing. But what I would say is there will always be people that will still want to move to that location because of its facilities, amenities, close by to the city centre. And also, if it is at value, then you will still be able to find and secure a buyer for the property. That said, if that person wants any more information, again, I'd be more than happy. There are reports that I can send over for you, which will give you some information on the local market value in today's market. Also, that report is based on previous house sales, but I'll be more than happy to come out if need be and do you a no obligation appraisal of the property to give you some more accurate data and some figures that you can then make some informed decisions for yourselves. But ultimately, there will always be a buyer for properties. You've just got to, first of all, price it, and again, use an agent that is very good at marketing properties to find the ideal buyer for that property.
Perfect. And as I always say to some people, it's not always about a financial transaction. Sometimes it's about wanting to achieve something else, and you take a little bit hit now to win in the future. And Nate, I know that we've had that conversation before, so you know exactly what I'm talking about there. Awesome. So that's the 5 Ps that are going to go viral. Nate, thank you ever so much. Oh, I've got someone else is commenting. Awesome. Nate, you're more than welcome, mate. Thank you for
I hope that helps.
putting your
Genuinely,
questions
if I can help you on that at all, again, just find me on the Facebook, etc. Ping me a message over, contact Jen, and she'll give you my details. It is quite an emotive and sensitive subject to be talking about, so it is making sure that we give you the right advice. But anything I can do there to help, be very happy to do so.
Amazing. Thank you, Mike.
Okay, so I think we've covered everything over. We're going to keep within the 30-minute timeline. We've had, again, a lot of people watching today, so I think the indication is we've definitely made the right decision to do it in an evening.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's great to have some sort of likes in there and also some questions and some comments coming in as well. So genuinely from me and Jenny, we really appreciate your support. We're going to make sure that we're all set up so that you'll get your notifications through in plenty of time for all the future shows. In regard to past shows, we're creating up the YouTube channel again so that all the previous episodes are in there. But unless there's anything else from you, Jenny, we shall bid you good evening. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Hope you've had a fantastic Christmas and New Year as well. And we also, from our point of view, wish everybody, a very happy, healthy 2000 and successful 24 as well.
Absolutely. And we'll see you next Tuesday at 7 o'clock.
Fantastic. Have a great week, everybody.